And we're live. Hey guys, welcome back to Whiskey Charlie, the War Game Chat, our monthly show on YouTube. I'm your host, Mo from Mo's Game Table, and joining me are both of my co-hosts tonight. Everybody's favorite gimp with the limit, GMT Gamer, Nate Rogers. How's it going, buddy?
It's another day. Hasn't been a glorious day, but it's another day.
Yeah, I was going to say that's a little different today.
We're still alive. That's the best I can say right now.
And that's all that matters. And
hang in there, buddy.
Our other co-host, the Wargaming Wizard from Oz, the notorious Kev Sharp from the big board.
Well, just the intro gets longer and longer as time goes on.
Of course.
Hey, I'm good. How is everybody else?
Good. So, Nate, you've had a bit of a rough couple days, and hopefully everything will smooth out and get some answers here.
Yeah, the gaming channel, I just saw where you said he was in the chat. For those of y'all who don't know, the gaming channel is my little boy. We had to take him to the hospital the past 3 days. He had some heart issues, so we're hoping to get an answer to that, praying everything comes out all right for him. But he's tough. He's got his little medicinal straw with him ready to go. Did I tell you about that?
No, you didn't.
The the doctor, the way they got him to come out of being tachycardic was to have him blow through a straw. Oh,
yeah, to control the breathing?
Yeah, just blow as hard as he could through a straw for like 4 minutes. And it was amazing. It went from 205 to 110, like that. Yep, that's you.
That's what your score is. You got to get under 100, Bradley. We're going to be watching.
He's fine now. They've got the little heart monitor, just like the one I wore, about a year or so ago on him, because they were supposed to catch one of these. And we took him to the first time we took him, they caught it. They had the EKG on when it happened.
Really?
And the first hospital didn't save it. They were supposed to keep the records, and they didn't. We went to the website. We were supposed to be able to pull it up. She, took him to the specialist, and they wanted to see it, what it actually showed. And when they pulled it up, it was blank. They didn't enter in any of the information. They just got rid of it. And it's like, why? Why would you do that? That's the whole point of having the website, so we can pull that shit up.
Yeah.
So, yeah, they were a bunch of assholes.
Well, main thing is that he, has the monitor on him now. And is it one where he has to wear it around his neck type of thing, where it's in the chest area, like in front of him?
No, it sticks on.
Oh, because it would be cool if it was in front of him, because then he could walk around and breathe heavy and act like he's Darth Vader. You have that control thing in the front.
We're afraid he's going to push the button because it came with a phone.
Oh, really?
Yeah, anytime you push the button, they've got people who are live monitoring it.
Yeah. And
they'll call, and then they want specifics of what you're doing, how you're doing it, and all that stuff when you push the button. And it's a little boy. Anytime you give a little boy and tell him, don't push the button, and tell, what's he going to want to do? He's going to want to push that button. We're waiting for the phone calls to start coming in on that one.
Or he'll accidentally push it. Maybe, because he's going to wear it when he's sleeping too, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So
for
like
the next at least week or so.
Way. Yeah.
Well, they've been like clockwork. It's been every 2 days.
Really?
First one was Wednesday. They had one Friday. They had one yesterday, I think it was. Yeah, it's been every 2 days like clockwork. So we're figuring tomorrow, if it kicks off again, they'll have it on, be able to get the readings. But supposedly there's a procedure they can do, an ablation. They go in and they zap it closed, so he doesn't have to worry about it. Because I don't want him putting him on meds that he's going to have to be on like the rest of his life. Screw that noise.
Yeah.
If they
You're already on enough meds. You don't need him on meds too.
Exactly. That's old people stuff, not young people stuff.
Well, yeah, for sure.
You don't want him running, playing, and being a pain in the ass like he's supposed to be.
Oh, Bradley, you hear that? Your dad wants you to be a pain in the ass, so you now have free roam to do anything you want to drive him up a wall.
No, don't tell him that. He'll do that.
Well, you just said it, so
you just said it, bro.
Sure, Uncle Noah and Uncle Kev are making sure that he knows to drive you nuts. That's funny though. But I'm glad that he's got the monitor, and hopefully they'll be able to. You hate to have to hope for him to have one of those episodes, but now is the time, because then hopefully they can find it, or get all the readings they need, and then they can go ahead and make whatever adjustments they need to make going forward.
Well, having an answer helps us. We don't panic,
Yeah.
First couple of times.
You just want to know. Right.
Yeah. Now knowing what to do. I mean, one of the times I stopped it by just holding him by his feet and holding him upside down. For some reason, that changed it and helped fix it. They call it vagal maneuvers.
Yeah.
Like,
so he's like,
wait, telling you to behave and be a good boy.
I was saying, drive your dad crazy, but in a good way. No, but you got to get healthy, buddy. Well, that's all we want to hear is that you're okay.
Yeah, appreciate that, guys.
So, does anybody else hear that?
I'm hearing it.
What's this?
Yes.
I think we're getting an echo from your Bluetooth, Kevin. I'm hearing it when Mo speaks, but I'm not hearing it when I speak.
Do you hear it now? An echo?
No, it's not doing it now.
Can the audience hear it?
Yes. They're probably like, oh my God, is there a ghost on the show?
No, everything's fine now. It was just echoing there for a second, but it sounded like a woman's voice.
It did. That's why I was
This woman's voice is my wife's voice.
Oh.
So I need to
get your other headset.
Yeah. I'm wondering if that's what I should do. I don't know if I can switch while I'm live, though.
You could try.
No, well, down at the
or we can just like.
I had nothing.
Bradley says it's a ghost.
No, the ghost hangs out upstairs.
Yeah.
So maybe it's just us. I don't know how this little Logitech webcam microphone, which is pointed to me, is picking up her in there. And she's talking quietly as well because I told her I'm pain of death.
We're doing a show. Don't say anything.
Don't you understand? I'm doing a live stream.
This is important. Millions of people are counting on this.
All 11 of us.
Some microphones are directional. Like mine's directional. It doesn't pick up stuff from behind it very well. It's supposed to block that sound.
Well, I mean, if we need it to be more secure, we could always switch to the signal channels. And
we can use Signal. Yeah, because I hear that's a secure system.
That's really good.
Well, you know what I could do? I do have another microphone lying around here somewhere. I could maybe put one of those fancy ass podcasting microphones up.
Damn, Tim says it's your conscience.
Nothing wrong with my conscience, baby.
I don't want to hear mine.
I haven't had one of those in 20 years.
Yeah.
Conscience?
Yeah, I got rid of that back in 2005.
Yeah.
Actually, technically 2003. Get into specifics.
Yeah.
Anyway, what's going on with GMT?
Why are you picking on GMT?
Why are you picking on GMT, dude? You're so negative.
That was the first one you mentioned that we were going to talk about.
Well, we're going to be talking about pricing. Well, first thing we're going to talk about with GMT, number one is, in case anybody hasn't already gotten their email, they're having their big sale next week. So if anybody's looking for any games on sale, 40% off, there's the email that came out from Gene today, and they're going to be, 40% off anything that's on the game page, the sale page. You can go there and you can see what's on the sale. And there's like, I think 10 pages worth of stuff or something, including like mounted maps, stuff like that. So anybody that's looking for anything, you can go there. But remember, that's going to be with the new pricing. And the new pricing is a bit of a sticker shock in some ways.
I was going to say 40% off is more like 10% off.
I don't know how it'll work. I think it's so... the big sticker is going to be the shipping, I think, number one. But then I actually got on the Wayback Machine and had a look at the published prices back in September and October last year to see if any of the games that had already been published, that they already had the sunk cost in and all the rest of it, had gone up in price at all. And I didn't see any other than a couple of little, like a half counter set or something for some World War I game that I don't think anybody plays anyway. They changed the price of the half counter sheet by $1 or something like that. I think the main price increases are all for the P500s. They've gone up 7 to 15% roughly overall. But the shipping's a problem. Particularly for the sale. Like if you're going to try and save 40%. And then you're going to get whacked with a much, much higher bill than you're usually expecting. I think that's going to give some people cause for pause. I'm certainly not. I had a look. I don't see a lot that either A, I don't have, or B, I'm interested in. There's lots of Euros and lots of coin games, strategy games, and things like that. There's not a whole lot of war games out there that I either don't have or don't care to have. So I don't know what. Maybe there's going to be clear space out of the warehouse. There are a lot of train games for sale.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, they do have a lot of those 18xx games if you're into that. And one thing that did surprise me, I have to go back. I was trying to get in before, but for some reason, I always end up getting locked out of my account whenever I go into the GMT website. It seems like I get locked out. I don't know if it's because I was going for my work computer at the time. So I don't know if that, factors into it, but I couldn't get in and check what the sale price was for the last copy of Next War that I got. Because now they've got for the sale, they've got Next War Poland second edition for like $103. I was like, I don't remember it being that high.
Yeah, it was. The retail is 103. That's how much it's always been.
Really?
Since Next War Poland, I got a while back for like $80.
Yeah, but that was the pre-order price.
Which one?
No, GMT's bad Next when it comes to the pre-order stuff. I think the P500 backer should always get the best price. If you're backing it and helping them produce the game, it should be the most cost effective for you. But very often I see when it comes to GMT that I would save more money, especially when it comes to shipping costs, if I waited and bought it retail from like Miniature Market, and it's going to cost me $5 of shipping with Miniature Market, and usually their price is lower than the P500.
Yeah.
Right.
There's really no incentive for me to P500 anything.
Right. Yeah, it's just more
shipping kills it. Yeah.
Yeah.
If you're going to give that good deal to Miniature Market, I mean, at least give that good deal to the people who are backing.
Well, that's a little bit different because distribution is going to be a different pricing.
Yeah, wholesale. But that talks about the margins, right? So if they can afford to sell for 40 to 50% off to a distributor or a wholesaler or a online store, I guess it goes to a distributor, then goes to the online store. I don't know how they do this stuff, but there's a handful of those companies that buy in bulk and then ship it, put it out to online stores and retail stores and stuff like that. So GMT's still making money selling them at 50 or 40 or 60% off, just like all the other companies are as well. There's still margin in there. So what is it that the margin's not enough, or is it? This is what I struggle with. Is where people say, "Oh, the public designers make their money, and we all get that." But publishers make money. Otherwise, they wouldn't be in business. They couldn't afford to be in business. So, and if they can afford to sell it for 60% off to a distribution channel, then there's plenty of margin in there and there's plenty of margin for sales because they don't sell it at a loss. Mm-hmm. So now I've got a cat on my desk. So the
oh jeez.
So I don't know what I was trying to say there, but my point is that there's profit there that can be that can be shared, not shared, that can be consumed by them to fund their business. They should be the
most expensive place to shop from, and that's the problem.
I don't think they should be, right. I don't think if you want to retain all the margin for yourself, you should be the least expensive place to buy at, right?
Or at least on par with a retailer.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So I'm confused by it, and then the whole hey, we screwed up for the last X number of years with shipping, and we've got to bump the prices up, and everything's changed, and it's not our fault. Oh, and tariffs, it's all bad Trump. I mean, just none of that felt good to me, or very appropriately positioned. It felt like it was, hey, let me make a political statement here. Oh, and by the way, we're fucking you on shipping. So if they were doing it wrong, okay, that's fine, but that's mismanagement, and that really now it's my problem. But come on.
Well, on a couple of occasions in the past, when I'd ordered things, I would, it depends on how the games come in. Sometimes you get on a P500 for this and for that, and one comes in I don't know, February, and the other one comes in April or May or July or whatever. Sometimes they come in together, and you get charged for the P500 and the shipping, and they combine it into one box. Yep. And that has happened on more than one occasion, and I didn't get a rebate on that money. And I'm like, it was like $20 $20 or whatever is $22. I'm sitting there going,
Big
okay,
one, right?
yeah, I mean, it doesn't
Yeah.
it doesn't break the bank, but it's the idea. It's like, well, there's not an efficient process there. If you're gonna, I mean, and I agree with combining. That makes sense to
Yeah.
combine, but then you pass the savings on to the customer by only charging once. You make sure you can. Well, these games are both going out in the same shipment, so we're only going to charge you one shipping, and it may not be
Would be
22, it
fair.
might be 24 or 25 because of extra weight or something or a bigger box.
Oh,
Fine, but don't charge me $40 for $20 shipping. You know.
Well,
Yeah,
when they did
yeah,
their price-
yeah.
They did their price increase, and really the way that came across to me felt like they were upset about things politically and decided to use that as an excuse to raise their prices because none of that had actually taken effect yet. If they had done it after it taken effect, okay, then maybe there would be an argument to be made.
Remember that the tariffs did pass in two different times. There was one in February and one in March. So now tariffs with China are 20%. So it's one at 10, one at 10. So
yeah, but they did
they
wasn't it
did it before that.
January?
Yeah,
it was January where they announced it all, and they said, "Oh, the like, and I'm not going to get it all politics. I'm not going to get shit about what they think about politics, but and then I don't think they're the only company that's raised prices. I know MMP I've had some sticker shock with some of the MMP products that have been
MMP's always been high.
P500, yeah, I think they always have been high, I would say, generally speaking, but I get massive play value out of it, so I don't mind as much.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like when I look at, if I take Guderian's Blitzkrieg 2, and then I look at the Third Winter and the Forgotten Battles, the price has gone up each time, and significantly, like not 5%, 15, 20, maybe even more, and I haven't done the math, that's just me estimating. It's the same number of maps, same number of counter sheets, same rule book, with some better quality charts and things because they're in full color now and all that. So that's all good. But, we're talking about a game that costs $10 or $15 to make, to print, not including the artwork and the designer fees and stuff like that. But it's $10 or $15, and then to suddenly go from, 110 to 140 to 180, it's like, hey, fellas,
180. You must be talking about Combat Commander Vietnam.
Oh, well, there's a thing.
Yeah, that was the one that made me go, huh? What the fuck? I was like, holy shit, $175. I mean, are we getting a Foot Locker with it, like DVG does with the Warfighter that has like 8,000 cards?
I guess
they're going to
six
start pricing
factions,
their customers out. People can't afford to keep eating the cost, and with the cost of everything going up, they've got to keep in mind these are luxury items.
Yeah,
these are the items that are going to be first cut if people have to start making cuts in their budget, right?
Yeah. Luxury items are always going to be supplanted by necessities.
Exactly.
Okay, so Blue Panther. Oh gosh, I can't remember his name now. Steve. It made a good point. So talk us through that, Steve, and you don't have to share your numbers and stuff like that. But so let's say one game makes X% on the website, but then when we go to distro, the margin's less. I absolutely get that the margin would be less, and maybe they're only making 15 or 20% because they get the volume, right?
Mm-hmm.
So be interested to see what your thoughts are on that, given your experience. Shut your mouth,
my thing though is they hurt their margins. That right there says that they make more money, obviously, by selling to an individual consumer than they do to distribution. Cool, that makes sense. But you need to incentivize people to buy from you, because there is no incentive for me to buy directly from the company when I can save not just a few percent, but we're talking 10, $20 if I buy it from a retailer, not to mention half or less the cost of shipping, right? You're giving me no reason to directly support the company. You're fully incentivizing me to go to a retail market and not to back at P500.
Well, here's a good thing that you just brought up. The chipboard supplier raised prices 6% this week, no notification, and they had already raised them 5% in January. So that's an 11% increase overall. So where are you gonna put that? You have to pass it on to the consumer. You can eat some of it, but you can't. You might be able to eat 5%, and then 6 goes to the consumer, or the other way around, or whatever. Or
Right.
sometimes you may just say, you know what, I'll take this and I'll just eat the 11%.
No, that wasn't me that time.
No, that's my penny. That's our little dachshund. She's just letting the world know that I heard the wind blow and I'm barking about it.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think he's right about supply chain. Inflation is not over in the supply chain. I don't think it's over in the marketplace yet, right? I mean, everyone's getting excited about egg prices going down, but gas prices, where we are, it bounces from $2.50 to $2.90, right? A gallon, depending on the day of the week.
And I see it $2.89 to $2.59.
Yeah. So it's like, okay, that's cool, but hold on, sorry. So
well, you can blame whoever's in office. That's the easy thing to blame.
Yeah,
but the thing is, there's way more things at play here than just who is in office.
Right. Of course, I know it's macro stuff, right? So I guess my point about us bringing this topic up is I'm curious to see what the rest of the gang thinks about all of this, and is this a structural thing that GMT is kind of stuck with for the long term, because they're producing, it seems to me like they're producing a lot more titles. They're clearly going for a higher volume marketplace, Euro strategy game, family game marketplace, which require 10, 15, 20,000 unit runs potentially. I don't know how much you make for those, how many units you produce for those types of games.
Well, it depends. If you're going for like the hobby games, like the $20, $30 games, like the family games, that sort of thing, they do go in very high volume. A lot of those print runs can go 10, 25, 50,000.
But there's still producing some good actual war games. I mean, the deluxe edition of Fields of Fire that I recently covered was excellent. They did a really good job with that. They actually addressed the problems that the series had, that it was so hard to learn. They put a lot of effort into fixing that problem.
Well, the funny thing is that you brought up Fields of Fire. Before you go any further with that, I wanted to say that Miniature Market had that on pre-order. Well, out of curiosity, I got a $5 coupon, so I was like, oh, maybe I'll go ahead and order a copy from Miniature Market. I went there and they're out of stock
already.
And they're still on pre-order. They haven't even received them yet, so they've already allocated. They've already sold off their allocation.
They don't get
their allocation smaller, probably as well. Is what it seems like to me.
From what I've seen, I'm just guessing. It seems like Miniature Market, especially with war games, will get 100 or less.
Yeah,
usually less.
Yeah, who knows? I don't know what they buy. I mean, it just seems. See that it seems like a lot of extra bullshit to sell 100 copies to Miniature Market, right? Versus
50. Oof.
Where is it? 450 a gallon? Who's paying 450 a gallon?
California.
Well, who else do you think?
Well, what?
That's why reason to not live in Cali.
Not to mention the fact that they're using lasers on their own people.
So anyway,
moving right along. So
back to Combat Commander for $175. Let's see. Here's another one from Steve. We're optimized for low volume, high complexity. GMT's high volume, low complexity. Different business models, but they have always helped us out. Well, I think it's in everyone's best interest in the publishing field, especially in a real niche market like war games, to help each other out, because you'd think that, or some people might think that there's a lot of backbiting involved and stuff. It's like, well, it's such a small market. Everybody buys from every other publisher. So it's not like, well, we have to block these guys out because they're going to buy their game. No, everyone makes different games.
What does high complexity mean? Like component wise, or lading bills of materials, or what does that mean?
I would think I'm going to think that it's production. So the complexity for Blue Panther is probably higher than what it is for GMT, because GMT offshores it.
Offshores does volume. Yeah.
That's what I'm guessing. Steve, correct me if I'm wrong.
Well, the most expensive component in these war games are the counters. I don't know how complex they are to make. I know
$1 town sheet, buddy.
What's that?
I mean, it's chipboard and stickers.
$1 town sheet.
Yeah.
That's what it used to be. I'm not saying it is now. Maybe it's $1.20.
$1.50 maybe.
I couldn't be that max. You can buy a stack of chipboard for relatively cheap.
Yeah. Well, it's volume. Whoops.
But it's good volume, right? Yeah.
Eh,
And the die, you've got the die cutter, and you've got to keep the shit aligned, and there's wastage, and all the rest of it. So,
and then the other thing too that people need to remember is when it comes to here we go. Steve says we have 400 SKUs and make 1,000 copies of just a few copies. They have a lot of SKUs, but high volume in each title compared to our average. So
yeah, I think that's going to be part of the problem for GMT.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to have a warehouse full of stuff, and if they pick the wrong titles, and it seems to me like they're really betting.
They have sat on. They're going to have to sit on them, and that's cost.
Yeah. Like they've still got War on the Pacific or Pacific War in stock, which I'm surprised because that was a 1,700 P500.
Yeah.
So they must have run 3K on that. So was it only ever going to be one run, right? I almost ordered 2 copies. I'm glad I did.
Well, that's the thing that is a little
why
odd.
did you ever order 2 copies just to keep?
Well, because when it goes out of print, I can sell the second copy and make half the price of.
So you're dirty scalper.
Yeah.
Yeah, fair enough.
Well, you run ads on your channel. I sell my games to fund my hobby. So 61 up
doing ads on the channel doesn't make that much money.
I'm just saying,
for anybody
giving me shit. I don't put ads on my
except Google. They make a boatload on it.
Well, yeah. I mean, I think at most like $100 to $200 a month from it.
Holy crap, dude!
Look at you, big time.
No, I'm not big time.
Mega big time.
My little boy, he gets 4 or 5 times that.
Damn.
That's awesome. Good for him.
He's got videos with millions of views.
Damn.
Because he's
gets on there and just.
You're not cute. Have you looked at yourself lately?
I make cute kids. Obviously,
that's thanks to your wife.
It's different. Different thing. We cover a very niche market. Board games are already a niche market, and then we're covering a niche segment of a niche market. He's covering stuff that's wildly popular, like Roblox. So that's going to catch a lot more attention.
Yeah. And then boxes too. Our games only use 1 or 2 box sizes. They're made 30 miles away from us, so our box price is competitive with those printing overseas because boxes are expensive. They're generally the most expensive, item.
I remember Lock and Load saying, I remember Lock and Load saying that it was when they were doing the Battle for Normandy, not Battle for Normandy. Speaking of disasters,
we'll come to that in a minute.
Yeah, Heroes of Normandy. That he was telling me the boxes were $5 a pop.
That's
really?
Yeah, that was 10 years ago.
Wait a minute,
that was 10 years ago.
Yeah, no, but that
wasn't the volume needed.
I wonder what the newer boxes go for because the newer boxes are really thick. I think they're the best boxes on the market.
They are amazing boxes. Yeah, the only ones that make a better box are Sound of Drums.
No more 2-inch boxes. None. Don't allow a publisher to use a 2-inch box. It's 3-inch or bust.
Who?
I was telling Blue Panther, no games.
I love their little 1-inch or 1.5 inch, whatever it is. The small. I love those.
Whatever size box the game needs, make it twice as much. I won't be able to fit a game counter tray in there.
You get a nice little solitaire game, and it's in there. You can fit easily everything you need in that 1-inch thing, and you can have it on a nice small. That's what I have next to my table. I got a little library. I just put them all in there, so that way when I want to pull play whatever the Moog or something like that, I pull it out and boom, it's on the table, and it's right there, and I can put it right back away, or the night or whatever. Anything I want to play, it's easy.
Yeah,
I ordered so many baggies. I'm afraid the cops are going to show up staking out my house, thinking I'm a dealer.
Counter trays are gay anyway. I only use them when I'm playing.
Oh man, I use counter trays all the time.
I
sell the hell out of my stuff.
My OCS stuff will go in counter trays if I can fit them in the box, but otherwise I have to ID everything.
See,
and label it.
You use baggies with your OCS, and my OCD makes me put it in trays.
Yeah, most of the time it doesn't fit anyway.
How's it going, Jester? Everything's
up,
good. First Victories box, yes, it is. Outside box, inside, and then game box. Yeah, that's a whole nother level right there. What they did with that.
Yeah, next level. Yeah, that's really nice. Yeah, really nice.
The holy crap! I just went brain dead. The Point Blank expansion that they did That's got a nice little insert and everything else. They really have.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they really stepped it up.
I did not take up the offer for a copy of that.
Have you guys played that yet? The first Victories?
Yeah, sure.
I have not yet.
I've been trying, like, the stuff the past couple of weeks is distracting me, and I'm wondering if that's part of it. But I keep trying to read the rules, and I keep, like, I'll get the first few pages, and it's just not sticking in there. And I'm wondering if it's the way they design the rules, because I'm not really vibing with that soldier, battalion, brigade thing that they've done.
Just skip all that stuff. Just do the soldier rules, play that, and you'll get 85% of the game. You don't need to do the super high-end stuff. There's all this complex wheeling maneuvers and all that sort of stuff, and it's going to come into play twice in a game. And and not to poo-poo the design, but it's just like, it's too much for my little brain to just be bothered with. I would stick with the soldier rules. But so you stick with the soldier rules, learn all the mechanics, and then you can add in the battalion, whatever it is, the next level up, whatever it is. And then after that, if you really want to be fancy pants and have little drummers and fife and flute players and flags running around the map, knock yourself out.
Yeah.
I do like these, though. These little dudes.
Yeah, they're cool. They're cute.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, I like that. You know, the idea of this is the range of your cannon and all that type of
stuff.
That is I really want to get it to the table. I'm having a hard time getting it to stick.
Yeah. I'm kind of, I don't know. I'm not a fan of the two battles that they chose. The Miro is interesting. That's the better of the two battles. But you know, it's not Europe. It's not really European. It's not Napoleon. So it's Spain. Yes,
wait,
it's in
the
Europe.
French and the English, right?
Yeah. But it's and the Portuguese. But it's not. But it's not Napoleon, right? Napoleon's not in it, right?
Yeah.
It's Juno or whatever his name is, and
Juno who it is.
Yeah, you know who it is. It's not that guy. But it would have been cool to see. I get the impression that they're going to either do smaller battles and or portions of battles versus, like, they're not going to come out and say, well, we're doing the Battle of Moscow with 8 maps and 4,000 counters. I don't think they're going to go there.
Yeah.
I don't know what's going to happen with that service. We'll see.
Well, that's true, because if the battles that are portrayed in the game, whatever the game system is, if it's not compelling enough, and it can kind of make the mechanics less, I don't know, they don't hook into you as much, because you're like, this is kind of a meh battle. I know I hate to say that about people actually killing each other, but you know, when you look at it from a game perspective, it's just one of those battles that just, I don't know. I'm not saying that one. I'm just saying a battle that just drags on, or there wasn't any dynamism in it. You know, it's like, okay,
right. Yeah.
You know, you're going to be less compelled to play it again.
Yeah. So Vimiro I think it is very interesting for that perspective. So it's a good battle, but it's crappy terrain, and it's not your traditional, you know, everyone lines up and does the linear combat classical thing, and no flanking. There's a little bit of flanking, I guess, but anyway, I'll stop. I like the system, right? Because I played it twice now. I mean, I played the other little battle, Rolica or Holica, but it's from España. Sonica. So there's that, which I think is cool.
Chester says, learn the core rules that you use 80% of the time, then worry about the rest later.
Yeah. I think Blue Panther,
you said about the 2-inch boxes, twice size for storage and shipping, justified if the game has enough components. Very true.
Yeah.
And there are games out there that are in 2-inch boxes that you're like, why? And then there's others that are like, why are you in a 2-inch box? You should be in a 3, possibly a 4-inch box, because there's just not enough. MBT, I'm looking at you. That should be a minimum of 3, if not a 4-inch box.
There's some people who really do take, you know, quality of life for the player into account. And I got to give Assault Games credit on that one. Have you guys seen the final version of Assault Sicily? That box.
They get 2 thumbs way up.
That is how you make a box.
And working with Uva, that is a hell of a team right there. Uva Valentin, Sound of Drums, those guys are kicking ass. Yeah.
And we're talking about a tray that covers the entire bottom, All the counters fit in there nice and neat. All the dice, all the cards. Got a cover that goes on top of that. All the map tiles fit perfectly fitted to the cover. And then you could put your player aids and your rule books and shit on top of that. It was designed to go easily back in the box and come out of the box easily. You can tell a German engineered this shit. It is excellent. It's the best design.
What are you saying? You being racist?
No. Germans over-engineer shit.
Yeah, it's really, really, really well done. And the quality of the components is just such a big upgrade from the original Assault. It's very cool. I'm not... It's an overwhelmingly sized box, though. So it's kind of annoying.
Yeah, it's almost as big as my dick. I will tell you guys, though.
I said it's big.
It's not a micro game. It's a monster game.
Yeah.
For those of you guys watching,
I just found out why my dog is barking like crazy.
There might be one of the three of us who has 2 copies of this game and might be giving away one of them. So you guys,
which game is this?
Assault Sicily 43.
Oh, you have 2 copies. I just have 1.
I got the preview copy. So y'all stay tuned. I will be doing a video soon on that. Anyway, go ahead.
See if that's going to show. It probably won't show. Yeah, I was trying to show why my dog is going crazy because we have a thunderstorm over us and we keep getting code red saying that there's a severe thunderstorm warning. It's like, no, that's in Plano. That's a little bit south of us, but Plano's got a nice hail core like you guys had in Kerrville the other night.
Oh, dude, we got lucky. You'd missed us by about 7 or 8 miles. Yeah, we were close to. Not that we had everything under cover and all that sort of stuff, but not our neighbor, but our friend who is 6 or 7 miles away, his roof got trashed. Big golf ball sized hail.
Is it tornado season for you guys?
I guess. I don't know. It's spring.
Spring means tornadoes.
Crazy shit happens.
Hail and wind and rain. I mean, that's what we had a few weeks ago. We had a really bad windstorm come through, and then like the week after that was all the tornadoes that went through the whole Mississippi area, Alabama and Arkansas and Louisiana and stuff like that.
Yeah, we don't have yeah, that's not me.
I can hear that. My little girl, sorry, I didn't know that you guys could hear. Sorry, she was telling Bingo. She's like, no, Bingo, no, Bingo.
Hey, there's Whiskey.
What's that dog's name?
Whiskey.
Whiskey.
He can't hear you. I got headphones on. Whiskey. Yeah. Get in. Good boy.
Was that a shepherd?
Aussie. Yeah, Aussie shepherd. Yeah.
Now, this is true. A game I enjoy playing will receive the greater focus of my OCD with regard to storage, but I kind of have that. I do that, but I also do that with a game that I'm like, okay, even if I'm not playing it yet, I'm like, I know I'm going to play this. So I'm going to make sure that all the storage is right. And I always try to make it where, okay, how do we
do it before you play?
Oh yeah. I do all that stuff before I play. When I'll get a game in, I'll punch, I'll clip, I'll sort everything.
As you unbox, you organize it all.
Yes. And then when I finally get around to playing it, I'm like, okay, cool. Because I've gone like, oh yeah, I want to play this game. Shit, I never unpacked it. Damn it.
When you do it,
I wanted to play it tonight.
The punch boards, you punch the units out according to their different units and factions, get them all set
color
up,
bands or divisions, whatever.
Yeah. And then you go baggy or tray, whatever you're using for the game. Yeah. You do all that before you play the game.
Yeah. Baggies, I only use baggies for if I use a baggie at all. It'll be the last thing because I always tray the units first. And then if I don't have any more space for another tray. Okay, do I have enough to put a couple baggies out and flatten them down? Well, that's where the admin counters go. I'll go into a bag for that. Usually I'll do that for like anything that's going to, like if there's a lot of control markers or something like that, I'll put those in a bag because I'm like, I don't need to put that in a tray. That's a waste.
Don't you hate it when you've got like 5 admin counters and they don't fit with anything else? And it's like, I can't put it in its own section and its own baggie is like this big waste. You got a big, huge bag with a couple of counters in it. You're like, where the hell do I put it? And if you mix it in with something else, you'll forget it's
You'll lose it. Yeah.
If I ever get those little quarter-size bags, I always keep a hold of those for admin counters.
Those little ones? Yeah.
You guys don't want to try to organize the last Butch Creek then, or the last gamble, I should say.
The last gamble.
That's a lot. That's a lot of info counters.
Yes,
it will blow your mind.
Started to, and then I was like, you know what? I'm going to come back to this when I'm in the mood, because this is one that I really need to sit down and I need to organize first and figure it out before I put it in the tray, because that's going to be a little more difficult. So that's Penny, because she keeps hearing the thunder outside.
So I struggled with that gang organizing it. It was
that one I can see driving you nuts, because you're just more of the, I'm going to punch what I need, clip them as I'm using them, and then when I'm done, I'm throwing it all in a box.
I do sort it to pack it up, but I sorted it to organize it, because I played one small scenario, and I had a chat with what's his name about the design and the Rich, and I was like, when you do counter layout, there are many choices about how you can, where the counters end up on the sprue. You can actually make those decisions. And sometimes you could actually keep all the units of the same formation together. Because there was some of that was really awkward. But anyway, that's a whole other story.
So I was just muting my phone or my mic so you didn't hear Penny. She's going nuts right now.
That's all right. Don't worry about it.
What is the deal with the Battle for Normandy? Because you guys are saying you want to talk about it, but I don't know what the deal is that you're wanting to talk about. And I'm curious.
See, there's this thing called D-Day, and otherwise known as the Battle for Normandy.
I don't need the history, Dick Cheese.
1944, buddy. Big year.
June 6, 1944. I was there, kid. In the war, the big one. WW2.
WW2.
11 counter sheets, 9 maps.
Uh-oh. Can you guys hear that?
No. What?
I know, I hear it. Hold on, I gotta go check this hail out. I'll be right back.
Hail check. Time out.
Well, you guys aren't that far away from each other.
Well, I'm 5 hours away, 6 hours away.
You're 5 hours away?
Yeah.
I thought you were like a couple hours away. I get that Texas is big. It's like bigger than France. So I know it's a big place, but I didn't think you guys were that far apart. You're south of Houston, right?
No. He is north of Houston. I am west of Houston and south of Dallas. And I am, if you know where San Antonio is, I am northwest of San Antonio. So if you drew a four-sided sort of oblong doohickey thing at the point on the most western part, I would be somewhat south of Austin, northwest of San Antonio, and southwest of Dallas, and Houston is way the fuck over by the coast, and no one cares.
Well, I've heard not a whole lot of good things about Austin, so I guess good thing you don't live in that area.
Yeah, I used to live there. I lived there 20 years. We got sick of it, so but that's a whole other thing. So it was terrible. It became terrible.
We're still debating on where we might move one day. She likes the idea of Texas. It just doesn't have the incentives we need to head out there.
Well, so, we were, I was talking to some folks about a business, and I was in home care industry, and there's a really, really big VA here that has a great reputation in my town. And we have a very big health network. I can't comment on how good or bad it is. I don't know. But this is a great area. And then San Antonio is another great area. And San Antonio is an hour and 40 minutes from us. So if you need to get into any of the VA hospitals there, that's also a big plus as well.
I get you. That's all great, but that's not the incentive I'm talking about. We're looking for one that doesn't charge the house tax, because depending on
property taxes, right?
Yeah,
right.
Depending on the state we go to, we either get a reduced or don't have to pay property taxes. And not having to pay property taxes means that just gives us a huge raise.
Yeah.
And the only ones that I know so far off the top of my head that do that are Florida and I think Alabama.
You won't get that here. Yeah. We fund this fund the state off of property taxes and each city.
Oh yeah.
Can think about how much property taxes are. We're talking about just a few years. I mean, that's 10, 20, 30, just depending on how long you live there.
Yeah.
I could be using that money to put towards my kids,
Right.
put towards their future, you know? So that's going to be our main deciding factor. You okay, Mo?
Yeah. I had to help her get her car in the garage because she was freaking out because it was coming down. It's like golf ball size. So it's good size.
Shit.
Yeah, it was coming down pretty good. And I was like, all right, well, just relax. Open up the garage. Go out and move the car in.
If you suddenly go shooting up out of your seat, we'll know what happened to you.
No. If something like that was to happen, if I heard my weather alarm go off, I'm like, I gotta go, guys. Tornado.
Right.
Plus, I'd have it on my phone anyway. So
yeah, see, we'll get your weather, I believe, tomorrow or Thursday.
You guys are
wind and rain tomorrow or Thursday, one of the two.
Yeah, right now there's a whole bunch of cells that are popped up everywhere. Dallas, Flower Mound, Fort Worth, Garland, Plano, Sherman. They've all got them all over, but there's nothing down by you right now. So
yeah, it's nice here right now.
Yeah, just all in our little area. So, and it definitely was not normal because I always pay attention to weather, and it just that one popped up out of nowhere. She's like, "You didn't tell me this was going to happen." I'm like, "Well, I can't tell you every time the weather's going to happen."
But
I mean, Mother Nature does not have me on speed dial.
You send me warnings. So.
Yeah, I always try to give everybody a heads up when anything's going on. But no, it's.
Did she not think to move her car inside to the garage, or
not until the hail started hitting, and then I was like, I stopped for a second. I was like, man, is that hail? And she opens up the door of my office. She was like, it's really hailing bad out there. I was like, okay. She's like, you gonna get out of here. Okay, I'm gonna go. Stop hail.
Yeah. I noticed you're not wet, so clearly she went out and moved the car, right?
Well, no, I said to her, give me I said, just unlock the car. I'll go get it. And she's like, you're not going to be able to move the seat because she has her seat all the way up, So I was like,
God, yes.
Okay. So I was like, so she went in the thing and it wasn't too bad because it was just a few feet. It was like maybe 7-8 feet. She had to run out.
Right.
And I said, we'll just time it. And I said, okay, go. And she was in. She didn't, get hit or anything like that because it was coming down pretty hard for like a couple minutes, and then it kind of started to lessen off a little bit. And then I was watching the other cell to our west, and it was just lightning like crazy. I was like, yeah, everybody's getting hell cores now, apparently. The updrafts are just getting strong. Yeah.
How do they drive like that?
Drive like what?
My wife drives the same way. Like, if I try to get in the driver's seat where she's got the seat adjusted for her, the steering wheel's like hitting me in the chest, and the back of the seat freaking vertical.
Yeah,
I'm like,
I get in the car, and I'm not really tall anyway, so like I get in the car, and I'm like, damn, the wheels like hitting me in the chest. I'm like, how the hell are you driving like this? You're not that much shorter than me. You're not 4 or 5.
I mean, it's a chick thing. Women do that. My wife's the same.
They just love being right.
Got all mad. At the hospital they didn't have parking. You had to valet, and the valet comes bringing the car back, and we're getting in, and we start to go, and she's like, I gotta move my seat, and she's getting all upset about it, and I'm like, hon, he couldn't have driven the car, he could not have parked it. Like, you got the seat as far forward as it can go without actually folding up. Like, men can't drive that.
Yeah, rally drivers are a little different though. They need every angle of being able to react faster because everything they do is pretty crazy. You're literally driving a racetrack that is just a road out on the dirt road, and you're going off your your co-driver who's telling you, okay, this is the angle of the turn up ahead. This is the gear you need to be in, or the speed, or whatever. However, their code works between them, and it's every millisecond counts. So Tennessee, what were we saying about Tennessee? I guess it looks like talking about retiring too.
Property taxes and VA quality for knucklehead.
I was saying we looked at Texas but it just doesn't have the added no property tax benefit.
No, 4th highest in the country. It's in Texas.
That keeps us from going there. I'd go to Florida first, and I hate Florida. I mean, I don't hate Florida per se, but I don't want to
live in Florida.
Hurricanes. No. So it's going to be like
Stay out of gator territory.
What's that?
Stay out of gator territory.
Oh yeah. Well, everything in
could,
Florida wants to kill you that's in water, and even the weather wants to kill you. So
yeah. What about the panhandle of Florida though? Sort of clear water up around that way. That's nice.
Yeah,
that's
nice
the upper part, right?
Yeah,
yeah, the Gulf side.
I mean,
Someone in here, I think, lives there, don't they? Thought someone that was in the chat no, Fango's saying property sales and income. Texas is middle. Yeah, for sales tax, yeah, but property tax, though, I think last I checked, Texas was
but no income taxes. I guess
no
so
income.
That brings it down on average. I bet the average would bring it down.
But no, for me that doesn't work because I get paid.
Yeah, but Florida has property taxes, dude. It locks in. It maxes out at a certain level.
It's a federal thing because of mine being awarded for being wounded in combat. They don't tax it, so I already don't have to worry about income tax. It's not the greatest income, but they don't tax it, which makes it sweeter. Right. But if I can get away from the property taxes, that's two whammies I don't have to worry about.
They did, or whoever's representing.
I would expect that, Steve.
Yeah. Colorado tax is high because you got a bunch of
because Colorado is high.
In altitude.
Exactly.
Yeah. So back to battle for Normandy, or what are we doing? Oh, it's Dave. There we go. Cool.
Fango saying, I've been studying and retiring. Tennessee's number one. A lot of people say that Tennessee, but
I don't like Tennessee. It's nice.
It is a nice area, especially if you get up towards the mountains.
Well, you'd have to. I mean, you'd have to be on the east side. You don't want to be in the middle to the west because you're in Dixie Alley. That's just like being in Alabama or Georgia or, more like Alabama, Mississippi. You're going to get a lot of tornado activity over there.
There's a little theme park there called Dollywood. Been there a couple times when I was a kid.
South Dakota. That's where I want to live. I want to live in Rapid City so bad. Or Wyoming or Idaho.
Oh, God.
No, thank you. 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 No, thank you.
I want mountains and nobody around.
Yeah, it's just a little plot. Give me, 5-10 acres somewhere I can pop off some rounds.
I don't even need 5-10 acres. I just like Rapid City is, I think, the second largest city in South Dakota of 76,000 people. I'm like, I will take that every day.
Yeah.
Versus 300,000 or 400,000.
I hate people. Let me get away from them.
I just don't like traffic and crime and all that stuff. Nope. I pass. So,
all right. So let's finally talk about Battle for Normandy.
Now that we've gotten through the battle of the
state
ice out here, the hail. Let's talk about Battle for Normandy. So, there was a lot of anticipation for this deluxe edition, and it came out, and then there was dismay at the deluxe edition. So
I don't know what happened. It seems like it's counter errors, and I think I saw in the newsletter that it was the wrong proof, the wrong final version was sent to the printer. So lots of mistakes, and they don't know how they're going to fix it, but they will. That's one of the good things about GMT is we know they'll fix it.
Yeah.
So that's a positive, but a huge ball drop on the development side and QA side for them.
Yeah, they said it was a versioning issue, which that is definitely not something you want to have happen. But it goes to show that the old saying, "Shit happens." Well, in wargaming, errata happens. Things do happen for whatever reason. And people can sit there and say it's inexcusable to have errata. No one goes out there to publish a game and wants errata. No one wants to have to reprint anything.
Right.
Except for Bill.
What's that?
Except for Bill. Bill loves errata.
Oh, yeah, he loves errata.
Favorite word.
But no one does. But there are many reasons it can happen, and versioning control is one of them. If I submit to Kev, hey, I've got version 9.3, this is the final version, 9.3, 9.3 - final, or, whatever, to let you know this is the final, this is the print ready copy. I would expect he's going to take that and send it off to the printer. Put them all in a folder and send them off. How easy is it for somebody to grab the wrong one, put it in that final folder, and ship that off? it can happen.
How many counter sheets are we talking about? Because it says it's got 11 counter sheets. So that's if it's all of them.
No, it's not all of them. I don't think. I think I'm guessing. I don't want to say. It's more than a dozen, right? Kind of like with Pacific War, I had the same issue, not as bad an issue, but similar issue where there were a lot of counters that had issues there. So, Herman's game, right? I mean, and it was a more significant percentage, I think, to me anyway, because most of the counters in Pacific War are information counters. There's really only 2 or 3, maybe 4 out of the 10 that are combat counters and stuff like that. Units, yeah. So, and then there are quite a few.
With everything that you're saying, this is making me think this might be on their production side as well, because they contacted me about Fields of Fire. Said that they had been getting a lot of reports that a certain counter sheet was misprinted on that game, that it was off center. And they asked me to check my copy over and let them know. So I checked it out, and mine was perfectly cut. So I let them know, and I'm thinking that it might be some people being overly picky, because occasionally a counter sheet isn't perfectly cut.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah, and for me, I don't consider that an off cut. As long as all the information is there, I'm not going to sweat that.
Well, it's not necessarily off cut. It could be that it didn't register properly. It's the cuts proper, but the counter sheet is too high or too low or shifted left or right, because that happened. Because my Vietnam 6575 from GMT sheet number 3 is like that. It's a little higher, and it's like, wow, it really jumps out at you when you look at it.
It's obvious. Like,
damn, why is it like that? But I'm like, it's usable.
As long as it's usable, I'm not going to pitch a fit over it. I don't care. Supposedly they didn't receive too many complaints, but this is what, 3-4 games talking about different counter issues.
It's interesting. It's interesting. I guess the people that are super GMT fans just don't care. But by the same token, though, others will give Compass and Lock and Load and other, Legion and other companies a really hard time for counter or flying pig
overlays,
right? For game errors, right? For counter errors or for big issues like that. It seems like GMT just gets a pass every time. Is that because they're the biggest biggest fish in the pond, and no one wants to upset them?
No, I think maybe it comes down to the more you invest in one company, or you have over the years, that you are more, likely to forgive and forget. And it's like, well, you know what? There's ways of fixing things, and there's errata for various reasons, whether it's a production issue or it's, wow, this rule is broken or that rule's broken, or, you have something like Battle for Normandy where you've got missing not missing, but the wrong data on the counter sheets. You got a missing player aid, things like that. Then you have the other side of the coin where you have something like Mr. President, where you have to come out with a second edition and an update kit, because there are that many glaring issues. So
and that thing was in production development for ever.
That was years,
years, right? So all that sort of stuff just kind of surprised me.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, whatever. I mean,
I'm just saying it's a big game with a lot of moving parts. So
I didn't even know
a game
there
like
was
that. You have to expect. Oh yeah, they're coming out. They have to do a second edition that's going to correct it, and then an update kit for the people who have the first edition.
So you have to buy the corrections.
So you got to pay for it.
Yes, which is where
it's as bad as having to buy a fucking magazine for all the counters.
I was going to mention that too. I don't like that they put the updates in magazine games,
and that's where a lot of people, go into what you were saying, Kev. It goes like what people will rip into Lock and Load and Compass or whoever, Legion and the others, for having to correct their things. And all these guys generally will print whatever needs to be printed, mail it off, and they're done.
Yeah.
They don't have to make you get a second edition.
Right. That's what y'all about Compass. Compass, you get counters, and sometimes I'll get a counter. I'll get a letter in the mail from them with half a dozen counters. I'm like, what the hell is this? And I realize that it's a game I haven't even pulled the shrink on yet to do a video on. They are on top of stuff. And I love that, right? And there's no cost to that. By the same token, I also like the fact that GMT is now doing this annual errata counter sheet, and it's
Yeah.
$1 or $2, and you pay for shipping, and it's I'll assume that it'll be reasonable shipping because it's just one counter sheet. So that's cool. That I think is better than buying. Sadly, I think we've seen the last of Roger's magazine. I think we'll get that last edition out. I can't imagine that his son's going to keep it going. I mean, he's going to do the writing and all the stuff, right? But anyway, that is done, so we don't have to buy $40 magazines anymore. Although,
no, he's going to continue.
And you think it's going to continue?
They're working on the next one at least. So I think from there, his son will determine if he's going to continue on.
Yeah.
And
I don't know if he's.
Mike's saying he's going to ask for a review copy, Mr. President. We should all do that. Hey, get a review copy. But so now with version control, though, the thing about with the version control, what was it? Mike was saying here about the better QA process. Printing the wrong version should have been caught. Yes. My question about the counters is, from what I gathered, it sounded like there were counters off of different counter sheets, which is a wider problem than, okay, you sent one counter sheet that was 9.4 and it should have been 9.5 or whatever. If it's counters on different sheets, that's a bigger problem.
That's something they need to correct for the player. The player shouldn't have to buy a replacement when it's such an egregious defect.
Yeah, it's interesting. I don't know how they're going to handle it, but they make good on stuff. So I'm not too fussed about it.
Well, they said they'll take a look and determine over the next month what they're going to do. So probably in the next update is when I think they're planning on giving an update on what they're going to do with that.
Have you seen some of those people who get on Facebook and they complain about the dumbest shit? Like they're complaining because there's a tiny hole in the shrink, right? We're not even talking about a crushed corner of the box, which again, I'm like, really? You're going to make a stink over that? And I get it. Some people collect them. Okay, you do you. But you're asking the company to pay to ship the game back and then ship you another one just because we're talking like real tiny little hole in the shrink. Nothing wrong with a box. Nothing wrong with a game. But tiny hole in the shrink.
You did not buy a limited collector's edition with a hologram affixed to it to prove that it is a one of 500 copies. You bought a game. And if it has a hole in the shrink and you're that anal about it, buy yourself a shrink wrap machine and fix them yourselves.
Yeah, that sort of shit, and that sort of shit annoys me. I'm more concerned about now. I will give GMT credit. I bought Hoplite, the first edition when it came out, and part of my boss was crushed. It was really not functional, and I was kind of pissed because it just didn't have bubbles. It didn't have bubble wrap. It was just slapped in a USPS box, priority paid. Thanks for playing. Here's your $100, $80 game, whatever it was.
Yeah.
And that kind of pissed me off. But I sent him an email. I didn't go online and cry about it like a bitch. Right. I just sent him an email. I said, hey, look, is there any way you could just send me a replacement box? Right. And they sent him a picture. I'm like, yeah, sure. So they mailed me at their cost a new box.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you very much. That's all you got to do. There's one thing to hold a publisher and a designer accountable for the design and for their end product. And if it's got significant flaws, like it looks like BFN has basically got some pretty poor issues. Reminds me of Korea, the Adam Starkweather game, right? Where someone printed the wrong set of rules for Fire and Ice, and it just was a complete shit show. And all the fanboys said, "No, it plays great. You just got to work it out."
Yeah, just have to figure it out. That's
the second rule. The second rule book was nothing like the first rule book, right?
Yeah.
So it was kind of that. It seems like it's potentially that sort of scale of problem. I don't mind getting online and having a conversation about it because I think we need to all just make publishers and designers be more accountable. It's our money. We're giving you our money. But for little dippy shit things like the font's too small on the chart to read, or something's offset a little bit, or there's a ding or here or there. Come on, let's move on. Go play the game and then come back and tell me how much I hate it, right?
Yeah. No, I agree. And that, kind of the riff off of what you're saying there a little bit. Yes, we should hold the publishers accountable 100% when they make a mistake or drop the ball, whatever. But we should also hold ourselves accountable. Each of us should hold everybody in the community accountable when they start whining like a little bitch, like you're saying. Just say, dude, take a chill, relax. It's not that big of a deal.
I'm not afraid of doing that. I don't mind. I'll help.
Mm-hmm. We'll do our part.
Yeah, we'll do our part. Hey, you're being a bitch. Stop.
Now, this is a good example. Most fearful sacrifice. The player
That's
was
exactly what came to mind.
One. Yeah, it was.
Yeah. Well, that's what I was referring to, right? I mean, that was just a mistake, right? And they did two things. They issued a PDF that wanted to print.
Mm-hmm.
And they then did a second edition, which, because they sold out, it's on its third printing now, or fourth printing? Fifth? Yeah. Fourth printing, right? Part of me is like, do I need to get it? Is there anything different? Should I buy it? But I haven't punched the new one yet. So anyway, but they fixed it, right? So all good.
So Christoph says here, indeed, it should not be the customer's problem. On the other hand, fixing the problem and sending them out can break a company, which is why they need version control. They need version control.
Look, dude, you're in tech. I've been in software for 35 years. QA version control, it's 101 shit, and it ain't hard to do. You just got to do it right and set a process up and make it work. And it's not hard, right? It's not hard. Yeah. There's one folder, and everyone checks it and checks it in, checks it out. It's not hard.
Where it does become a problem is aside from just humans being part of the chain and humans being mistake prone and things like that, is the fact that when you start moving along, you can. He's just crashed. Dale's going. He's like, hey, he knows we're talking about him.
Good boy. Yeah.
Sorry.
No.
Oh, here he comes. So when people are just jamming through these games, that you can just kind of assume. You can make a little bit of an assumption. You look at it almost with not a blind eye, but you're just used to it. I'm used to seeing this. Oh yeah, this looks good. Cursory look, not actually reviewing it, and then just submitting it. Now, 95 to 98% of the time, you'll get through with a good, everything will be all right, except for the usual variety of errata.
Yep.
Then a couple of percent, you're going to get through, and you're like, how the hell did this even get in there? Right. And that's when you're like, oh shit.
Yeah, stuff does happen. There's no question, right? Oh, yeah. So the Forgotten Battles. I was going through it, and I was setting the campaign up and going through slowly in detail and put the stuff as I go and put them on the map. And they're extremely well organized when it comes to their counters on the counter sheet. So it's almost literally the next counter that I'm going to pop out is the one that is going to go onto the map next, and then the one next to it is the one that's going to be one hex down below that guy. So it's how you punch the counters really matters to me anyway in OCS, because it makes it easier to set up. So anyway, so I'm going through this thing, and it's I was like, oh, hang on a second, this says this unit in that hex. That's kind of weird. So I sent Chip Saltzman, the head, the honcho for OCS, a note. I was like, hey man, is this where it should be? It's like, good catch. No. That's a mistake. Got through. So I found 7 errors, and set up for the campaign, right? So 7, 6, something like that. 95. I don't know. Let's call it 5. Which to me is a really big deal, because they're usually almost perfect when it comes to scenario setup and their setup books and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
And I was kind of surprised. Now, I haven't said anything online about it. I did that all offline with Chip, because no one wants to. They'll put in the errata, and they issue errata on a regular basis, so it'll get fixed, and so you'll be able to check it off. And it's not really a big deal if you can connect with someone and get the answer, right?
Yeah.
So I wasn't fussed about it, but things can go wrong. And so I guess, things just get missed here and there. I found another one today, actually. There's a counter that's supposed to come onto the map that's a 553. There's no 553 in the game, and they're all 543s. Okay, so I don't know how that counter art got into the reinforcement folder.
Probably because when it was originally made, they probably just copy pasted from another game that was 543 or 553 or whatever.
Yeah, maybe.
They just didn't overwrite it. And because that does happen too. There's a lot of copy paste errors that happen because there's a lot of copy paste that happens from book to book and things like that. And, we just have to be understandable, not so high strung about errata. I mean, unless there's a ton of errata, then it's like, how the hell did this get through? Then we have a right to really bitch about it. But you give the publisher a chance to correct it. Like GMT says, give us a month, we're going to come up with a plan. But at the same time, when you have the greasy, the squeaky wheel that wants to just whine, slap some oil on them, just rain on their parade and say, dude, really? You got a hole in your shrink wrap? Come on, man.
Yeah, that's crazy. I've never seen that. That's insane.
So
what are people playing?
What are people playing out there in the audience? Looked over 11 counter sheets on the last one, had some slight misalignment where the printing was right at the edge of a couple of rows of counters. Nothing was cut off. Dan says all publishers I've ever dealt with about quality issues have been very helpful. These are businesses and with a rather niche clientele, and they seem to acknowledge that, which is true. You're really going to generally get good, have a good rapport with them and get a good response from them because they want you as a repeat customer. They don't want to lose you.
Right. Right. Exactly.
Especially wargamers. That's the one thing. It's kind of going back to one of the things you had said earlier about with GMT expanding into more of the Euro games as well as the war games. One thing about wargamers is even with the rise in cost, wargamers tend to, we'll roll with it. And we might not buy 3 games this month. We'll buy 2, but we're still going to buy. And that's one of the things that is a benefit with wargamers. Wargamers tend to absorb costs, I think, a lot easier and better than the Euro/hobby gamers do because they're always looking for the deal. And not that we're not. It's just that we're used to, it's going to be $100.
We want the historical representation of that battle. And, look, it's a new battle on the Eastern Front that's never been covered before, or it's covered from a new angle.
17th one.
I got to have it. It's the 14th game on course on Pocket. This is going to be so different.
It's going to be great to go right on my Stalingrad shelf.
We are suckers like that. So which is good. Which is good, right? I think we're loyal customers to. I like all the publishers. There's only one or two that I won't buy from, but all the publishers really, I think, do their level best. And there's so many new European companies that are doing great things. I think it's awesome. So I think it's a great time to be a wargamer right now.
Sound of Drums, VUCA, and you were talking about Assault Games.
Thin Red Line.
Sound of Drums, Thin Red Line. I mean, they're really setting a new bar. All those guys.
Yeah, and the dudes from Spain that have got the Richmond. What the name? It's got a funky name. There's a couple of new companies that have only got 2 or 3 games out.
Vento Nuovo, is that who you're talking about? No, they've made more.
No, Vento Nuovo from Italy. No, they've got a Kickstarter going right now, actually. So Moscow 41, they want to jump on that bandwagon, and I think the Lion of Africa is what it's called, or North Africa. So that looks kind of interesting to me. I saw a lot of aircraft. I don't know what he's doing in the game. There's a lot of air in that game for some reason. But anyway, he's got a couple of things that people should check out if they're into block games.
Dave will be happy to hear this, Tim, because he's in the chat, or at least he was. He should still be.
Well, there you go, man. There's an awesome
Blood and Fury.
Gosh,
I've got like 10 videos up on that one, and starting the big scenario 21, that 8 mapper.
Oh, sweet.
Nice.
Yeah, got it all set up, all the units on there. It's just, it almost looks so good you don't want to touch it.
Yeah, it's so pretty. Those maps are amazing. Yeah. I'm super excited.
Speaking of foreign publishers, let's not forget Forsage Games, the Age of Dogfights, World War II.
Who was that? Forsage?
Forsage. Yeah.
Forsage? Never heard of them.
Forsage. They are from Serbia, I believe. and they put out some good stuff. Their Age of Dogfights World War One was very, very good, and they just released a tank game called Urban Battle. I did a preview on that one. They're the guys that did Tank Chess.
Tank Chess.
Well, did they do the other little tank game that was in that little green box with the measuring tape in it?
Yeah, I got it sitting right here.
Yeah, they had the tiny little tanks that were real cool, and they had the tiles you put out for the city.
Yep. Oh, here it is.
Panzer Strike.
Yeah, it was Panzer. What is it? Is it Panzer Strike?
Panzer Strike.
Yeah, it is
France,
Panzer Strike. Yeah.
1944.
Yeah.
Urban Battle is this taken to big boy version.
Nice.
A lot of different takes in it, all different types, self-propelled guns, recon.
That is really cute. That is really cute. I've never heard of this company before.
Yeah, check them out. They do some good stuff. And they were so small, they didn't have anyone covering them.
And I see, that's it.
I started covering them when they did Age of Dogfights World War One, and I felt kind of bad because I gave them a lot of grief in my first video. I was like, I hate stickers. Why do they got so many damn stickers in here? And now they released a pre-assembled edition with all the stickers put on the dice and the planes. And I think they did it just because I complained so much about it.
Did you see what Christoph, or I'd say Gimpy, did you see what Christoph said?
Oh, yeah. Nations of War. Nations of War is real good. World War II, World at War.
He likes your boot camp videos.
Thank you. I appreciate it. A lot of work put into those. But yeah, Forsage is great. Just wanted to make sure I get the small guys a shout out when I can.
Yeah, that's good to know. I've never heard that before, so that's awesome. Yeah, a lot of people playing OCS, which is cool. I'm glad people are doing that. I'm on my 26th video with the campaign game.
Wow.
And I'm only on the 17th turn right now with 63. So I don't think we're gonna make it to 63 turns, but I think we'll get halfway through.
Well, you could get 63 turns. That'll give you, content for the next 18 months.
Yeah, I don't know when I'm going to be playing it for 18 months. I'm going to have to buy some more tables if that's the case.
Well, you have the luxury of having all those tables, so you can leave games set up.
Yeah,
I'm jealous of that. Yeah,
I know, right?
I got room. I was thinking I could actually set the 2 modules up and leave a gap in between, and we could do it with 8 maps. That'd be stupid.
Nice.
My back would die, but anyway. I'm also playing that's interesting besides the Forgotten Rebels campaign is I just started last night. We started playing Empire of the Sun, got through my first turn, didn't do anything stupid, playing that online with my buddy on Vassal, and he's not going to see this video, so I'll tell you guys what I'm doing. This is cool. All right, so I took the rule book, and I got on Grok. Have you guys heard of Grok? The AI search engine AI thing. So I got on Grok, and I fed the rule book into it, and then asked it to come up with a way to collect resource hexes in the first 3 turns. And it took a little bit of doing. And I ended up having to upload a copy of the map as well. A PNG of the map, but it came up with kind of a strategy. I haven't gone through it all to make sure it's all accurate, and I haven't actually gamed it out to see if it'll work. But I'm going to spring this on my opponent next week or the week after when we play again. So
you're basically using ChatGPT to cheat.
I'm using ChatGPT to build my strategy. Yeah,
to build its strategy.
Well, yes, this is right. I said, is it possible for the Japanese to win the game? And
using
there are ways you can,
intelligence.
Yeah, the ways you can win the game, right? And work that out, and then political will and making the Americans fail certain things, and you can get a win. You still lose the war, but you win. And then, exactly. If I lose, it's going to be the AI's fault, not mine.
Exactly.
I always wondered what their goal was. They were never going to win. I mean, even if they got a complete knockout punch at Pearl Harbor, the industrial difference was so significant that a few years is going to just swing things to an unstoppable force coming down on top of you. I mean, one country waged war on both sides of the planet effectively for years, and they tried to fight against that. Just what the hell were you thinking?
And all they needed was 3 divisions of Marines to do it in the Pacific, and hanging on a few ships.
Shit, we could have done it with 3 platoons, man.
Yeah, exactly.
like that.
Exactly.
I don't know about the 3 platoons. I mean, casualties were kind of high for the Marines too.
Yeah, remember, I mean, a Marine is worth what, 10, 20 soldiers? Shit.
Yeah, well, it's not even that. It's just the fact that you're talking about guys that are not like the Germans or the Soviets or anybody else that are like, okay, you beat us, we're going to surrender, blah, blah. These guys died in place.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, how many guys were left at the end of the Battle of Iwo Jima? 200?
200 out of 10,000 or something.
Yeah, it was like an astronomical amount. Well, no, yeah, I'm trying to remember. It was 20,000 or something like that. I have to look up stats, but it was an insane amount of guys that were killed. And as we saw in letters from Iwo Jima, the guys that suicided themselves too, because that's one of the other things they did.
Yeah.
You know,
but
it's insane that you have to literally root them out. And you see it in the Pacific, the movie or the series of Pacific. They kind of get into that with Sledge's story about how they literally had to force them. They had to kill them. They had to go in there and kill them. You know, they weren't coming out. You know,
that's why I think it was the Marines that really needed to go after them, because Marines have a different mindset. Marines have that do or die mindset. We're going to put everything against you until you die or we die. And it's a standing order. You keep pulling the trigger until you can no longer pull the trigger.
Well, but I think that 24,000 is probably 24,000 casualties.
Casualties, not
I think there was like 6,000 or 8,000 dead. The rest were injuries.
Toro was worse than Iwo, wasn't it?
I don't remember all the.
No, I think Iwo was the biggest casualty.
Toro was where we got dropped about 5 clicks out into that shallow water. And
yeah, but you guys need to learn how to swim. That's all. I mean,
have you tried swimming with a pack and all that shit on? It's harder than you think.
Oh, dude, it's just you're soft.
Mo, you did it when did you have to do swim crawls when you were in the Corps? So yeah,
Marines are Marines. We're waterborne. We all did water survival training.
Boots, wearing body armor, wearing helmet, carrying rifle, had a pack on.
Take your trousers and create. Get the air in it to create a
swim from one side and back.
Are you guys going to do memory lane like for the whole show or just part of it? I mean, you guys want to do a whole group hug thing, or
it's just different mentality between Marines and your standard Army guys who are like, oh, I'm tired.
All right, now you're going to make me look up what the Marines forces and.
But the thing is, though, is you remember the other thing, Nate, to pop your bubble a little bit, is the Marines were not the only ones who did amphibious landings in World War II, or even in.
They just had to give the Army the biggest one in history, didn't they?
No. They did amphibious landings elsewhere, not just in Normandy, and not just in. They also, it wasn't just the Marines in the Pacific that did.
So what's his name? MacArthur was leading some Army boys down there.
You had 3 divisions at Iwo Jima, so don't complain.
Yeah. Fire your rockets, just leave now, right? Yeah, the MLR, the new concept that is a bad concept, but that's another discussion for another time.
Discussion. Anyway, so I'm excited about trying out this AI to see if the actual tactics work. I kept correcting it, going, "Hey man, by the way, that hex doesn't exist. There's no resource thing there." And it's really cute because it goes, "Oh, you're absolutely right. I'm so sorry. Let me try harder."
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
That's a good idea.
If you ain't cheating, you ain't trying.
You know what though? That is something that would be a good experiment to take a game and have 2 players not play against each other, but to literally, it would actually make for it. We should try that with a smaller map for something, and literally both of us or all 3 of us play like 3 sides or whatever, and feed it into AI and say, what do we do now? This is what they did. What do we do? And then see how bad the AI plays against itself.
Yeah. Play against itself.
Do another 3-way game of the long road. Let the AI
just push the counters, and then we tell the AI, here's the situation. What do we do? Well, it would be optimal to do this.
That'd be interesting.
But then dice changes everything too.
Yep, exactly. Yeah, of course, that's all the thing, right? It's just talking about combat. This will happen, but it doesn't factor in the die rolling, anything like that. So it's a strategy, and whether or not it works is another thing. It's all up to the dice after that. So, yeah. So it's cool. It's a cool little system. I need to reread. Well, I've skimmed the rules. I haven't really read the rules very well, so. I'm just using the AI to ask it questions.
Someone in the audience find out who Kev's one friend is and text him, let him know he's using the AI to cheat it.
Nah, too funny, guys. No, it's an experiment. So I want it to be because we're going to reset the game in a couple of weeks and play from scratch. So I'm going to take my time to build the strategy up, and then I'll launch it on him and see if I can get him to quit in 5 turns.
Oh, if you're going to do that, might as well go big. Do what's that game? The Battle for the Pacific. Go all out. It's only 10,000 counters.
Yeah, I've got those 2 games here. I'm actually going to sell my War in the Pacific. The big one, the big Decision Games one. I think I'm going to sell that.
Why? I mean, hold on to it. It's like a collector's piece now.
But what am I going to do with it? Hold on, I'm going to die in like 10 years, and then someone else is going to have to sell it, and they'll sell it for nothing. So if I sell it now, at least I'll get something for it that I can use to spend money to pay for a new microphone, by the sounds of it.
You know, Matrix put out a digital version of that game, right?
Which one?
I don't want to play PC games.
The Battle for the Pacific, the Decision Games.
Yeah, War in the Pacific. Yeah,
War in the Pacific. They call it the Admiralty Edition.
Mm-hmm.
I got that because you could get that for $12 when it was on sale.
Yeah,
and it's same game, same principle, but the computer does all the computations and all that bullshit for you, so you don't have to worry about any of that nonsense.
And all the rules.
Yeah, it makes it to where the game's actually playable.
Yeah.
Yeah, but come on.
Got to have the challenge of learning it. That's
Right. I
battle.
played a small scenario on Basel. I did the midway. Do it again.
Getting corrected.
Yes, it is based on that.
Well, I think Dave might know Matrix a little better than we do. Just a little.
No, Dave's just being contrarian. It's the same
similar.
principle. It's a
similar.
bunch of counters. You have to deal with all the logistics.
That's a bunch of counters. Wait. But
and it's in the Pacific.
Hey, no, it's exactly the same. It has a bunch of counters. It's in the Pacific, and there's a whole lot of water.
What I mean is like the
and there are Marines.
There are Marines.
Having to actually transport things like fuel and ammunition and all that shit.
This is
if
true.
it's not based off of it, if it's not directly a correlation, it's very, very freaking similar.
It's very, very freaking similar because it's on the Pacific.
It's in the Pacific. It's got Marines, man, and they sit under palm trees and eat coconuts.
And it's based on the original Gary Grisby. Well, you don't have to worry about it because I was just watching I'm watching the radar, and there's another cell just popped up about
that's
25 minutes out. So I'm watching to see how it grows, because it seems right now, I was just reading a mesoscale discussion that we're right in the middle of, and it's saying that there's a lot of energy here in this area, that these cells that are popping up and going severe pretty quick. So
you've got energy, bud.
Got a lot of energy. I just don't have any of it. The atmosphere does. So, oh yeah, that's right. John Longshore's birthday.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday, John. That's right. It was.
Well, Gimpy, what are you playing?
The game, David's game that I was just talking about, the lock and load game that I can't remember the name of.
World of War 85. Yeah.
I got World of War 85. That's going to be a big series. I just got done with the first part of the World War 85, and then I've got the big game series going to start. Trying to get first victories to the table. I've got Fields of Fire that I finished up. That one did pretty good. The Forsage game, Age of Dogfights, I'm getting ready to cover. I got to do, what's that? In a Dark Wood. I got that one to
In a
cover.
Dark Wood. What is that? Ted Racing?
No, in a Dark Wood.
No.
Dark Wood.
Red Line.
Yes.
Thin Red Line. Okay.
Thin Red Line.
Okay.
Yeah.
Go. Sorry.
And Conquistadors from Compass Games. They sent that one as well. So I've got like a stack of must-to-do that just keeps getting bigger.
Wow.
Publishers all release shit at the same time. So I'll go a couple months and get nothing, and then 1 month, and it keeps me occupied for weeks to come. So I'm at the busy time.
Yeah, I don't think I got my copy of First Victories yet either. I've got the release version, but I haven't got my version I paid for yet.
Nice.
That components
Should
are
be,
nice.
should be a shipping
I mean,
system.
Lockwood's
Still
always got good components though, and the canvas maps for that are actually quite nice as well.
Oh, they're really nice. Yeah, I have those.
Beautiful.
Yeah, just taking in case any of you guys are watching, if you get the canvas maps when they come out, they're tightly rolled. Just unroll them and put them face down, put something on top of them, and kind of give it an evening, and they'll flatten out pretty well.
Cool. Hey, Aaron, good to see you, man.
Just like the old poster days when you get your Cheryl Teague's poster or whatever, you'd have to unroll it and then you have to roll it out flat, like a couple books on it, and then take it and put it up on your wall.
I didn't put that one down face down. That's for sure.
Were you all right? So the canvas maps came in tubes.
Mhm.
Were y'all
Yes, sir.
beat up when you got them?
The tube?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, it's
Well,
shipped.
Yeah. One of mine
we're not
was.
talking about regular damage. I'm talking like it looked like they used it as a baseball bat.
Yeah, exactly.
Somebody
One of
did,
mine
I'm
was
sure.
bent in half and it was coming unraveled and it was a complete shit show. I sent Dave pictures and it's like, whoa.
Yeah.
and then
I
the next
think-
one came in, it was fine. It was perfect. So I did up.
I think they tried to rob mine because they had beaten it until they ripped the end off, and it looked like they had pulled the maps out of it to try to figure out what was in it. Oddly shaped package. I don't know
Right.
what they thought it might have been.
Right.
But
It would be
it's
big
just
blood.
it's irritating, Like just mail the damn package. It's not a baseball bat. It's not something expensive you need to steal. Mail the damn box.
Hey, John Longshore, they're going to announce the next topic for first victories as soon as you play the first victories.
Yes. And then it'll be second victories and
Yes.
thirds.
Other one that they sent those.
What are you looking for?
There was 2 lock and load games, I think. Oh yeah, this one.
Keeps disappearing. Is it wearing
I
purple?
know.
Is it?
Yeah, this one. Close quarter battles, Waterloo.
Yes.
Yes.
I set that up and got started and then had to pack it up. I need to put that back out. It looks super interesting.
Yeah, I mean, it looks good. But
Yeah,
components
you know
are
what it
always
is?
great for those.
You know what it is though? If I was going to say, if I was going to summarize that game, it's basically World at War 85 with muskets. Like it's the same activation type of system, the same losses system, and then obviously combat is very different because you've got to move and close and engage and assault and melee and cavalry charges and artillery and all that. But you read the rules and you go, oh, I get it. I get half the game, right? Or right off the bat. And it looks like it'll work really well. I'm super excited about it.
Damn, I should have started with that one. Oh,
Yeah, I mean, if I were you, you pivot. You'll take you 10 minutes to read those rules, flip through them, and you'll go, okay, I got it. And then just focus on the combat examples, and you're done. You're good to go.
Mm-hmm.
I might just do that. That way, it'll give me more time to do first victories, right?
Yeah, and it's friggin' Huguenot, man. I mean, that's awesome. That's could think of a better little, back level, skirmish level for Napoleonics. I've always wanted to play skirmish level Napoleonics, and this looks like it's going to be a banger. I'm super excited about it. In fact, I might set that up tomorrow.
You should do a video series on it and call it Sharps Rifles.
Burn so funny.
It would be fitting though.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
would be. He's sharp at the knee. I'm not. Hey,
He's
Hey,
sharp
honey.
to the knee, yeah.
can I help you? You're happy now? My wife's taking drugs. She's so cool. She had a tooth removed today.
Ooh,
Oh, she has
not
good stuff.
pleasant.
They admit she's on my horse at the same time.
And they put shoes on her.
On the horse at the same time. We heard.
Did you hear that? Yeah. That's fine. You can close the door, babe. I mean, I love you, but
It's
Sorry.
the boys.
Don't
time.
mix those with the whiskey.
And
yeah.
But yeah,
All right.
so that would be. So what's next for you, Nate?
I
Aside
just
from those.
listed off like 8. So
After that, I mean, don't you have anything else? Slacker.
there's plenty to keep me occupied for an extended period of time. I'm just trying to juggle publishers so I don't favor any one of them and cover them all as they come.
That's the problem you have, man. You're like a hardcore serious reviewer. You could have been like laissez-faire, like catch as catch can, play what floats your boat and gives you a big wood, and get after it and play it, and then move on to the next guy.
It's
Don't worry
the marine in me. It's the attention to detail.
Oh, is that what that is? Is that what you call that? You and your fluffy dice?
The way I figure it, I do this so it offsets the cost of my hobby, so I can actually have enough games to play.
Yeah.
So I owe them the effort to do the best I can.
I'm busting your balls too. It's okay.
Don't be so tight about it.
I have a question.
Don't be like the guy with the hole in his shrink wrap.
Yeah. Is anyone going to back the new Aliens RPG? I so want to do it. I want to go all in. Do I need to not? They're going to do minis.
Did you ask if someone was going to back it?
Mo's going to back
it this morning.
Did you really? Did you really?
Yeah.
You already have the original, though. You have the first version.
Yeah, but this is the new one. It's Aliens, man. I can't help it.
I gotta get it. I
have problem. But the thing I do like is one of the first things that jumped out at me at the new version versus the old one was one of the things that irked the hell out of me about the rules was the rules were all painted on black, or not painted, were printed on black pages. No. I mean, yes, I get for the images of the aliens
yeah.
hallways and stuff. Yeah, but for reading the rules, text on a black background is a big no-no. So they did the whole book that way. And this time they're doing it with light pages. And I'm fine with the art being dark for the art pages, for the, when you open it up and you have the nice layout. Yeah, sure. Show that. But then when I flip it over to read the text, let it be light,
Yeah.
So they did that.
Oh, dude, it's already done $1 million.
Oh, yeah. Oh, it's going to. That's Free League Publishing that did Twilight 2000.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I've got so much of that stuff. It's ridiculous. So
and it's coming with a solo mode.
I know. Oh yeah, I'm super pumped. Which one do I need to order? What gives me everything? What gives me
Let
all
me see.
shit?
Which one did I think I got the company level, I think, if I remember
Rapture, Protocol, Cinematic Adventure.
Plus I still have the other stuff. From
all the I wonder if all the expansions, so they offered to send me all the old Aliens stuff.
Really?
Yeah, because I sent them an email. I don't know what happened. They sent me an email ages ago because I think someone read one of my Twilight 2000 stories. And so I got on their list, and I sent them a note. I said, hey, look, if you have any pre-release stuff for Alien for the Kickstarter, I'd love to talk about it and promote it, trying to, because I suck at asking for free shit. And so I said, look, do you have anything that I can use to promote? And they're like, well, what if we send you all the old Alien stuff? I was like, oh, okay. So I don't know if I'm getting it. They just asked me for my address, so I haven't heard from them. So I don't know. But what do I need to buy? Tell me.
Dave, I just sent you a message on the Kickstarter. So what I did was I got the company bundle because you get a physical copy of the Alien Evolved Edition core rulebook, standard edition. Here it is. Yeah. You don't need the collector's edition. It just has a different cover. Hope's Last Day starter set, the Rapture Protocol boxed cinematic adventure set, and the RPG miniatures. So I figured the RPG miniatures are always good to have, even though I have the Alien and another Glorious Day in a Core with its own minis. I figured, it's always nice to have more Alien miniatures.
Yeah, what size are those minis?
Like sure, I'm going to guess they're probably 28 is what I'm going to guess. Don't think it says. I didn't even care. I just was like, I'm getting it. Because it's Aliens. It's Aliens.
It's like, why don't they have a Kickstarter level that's just the miniatures?
Because if you have the original and you don't care to upgrade to the new one, to update, you want to just stick with what you have, you can. And here's the miniatures, you can use it with it.
They're charging too much for it. With 3D printers out now,
for
the miniatures, you could damn near buy a 3D printer and make.
But not everybody has a 3D printer.
No one has a 3D printer, dude. $159. If I get all the minis and all that sort of shit, and it's Aliens, $559, I'm sold here. Let me click this big green button.
I guarantee you, there's a buttload of Aliens minis on Thingiverse, and you can get a decent resin printer for $120.
Yeah, I think it's Popsicles or Popsicles, however it's pronounced. Oh, cool. They have the best Aliens miniatures out there.
Well, so will you please buy that
them for
thingy and do those things and print them for me and send them to me, that'd be awesome. Oh wait,
No. I have a resin printer, but I've got to update it.
yeah, that's
Screen
what
cracked on me.
You slacker.
Wait,
So I'm just gonna buy them.
I still got the old Aliens game, I think. So I've got a bunch of Aliens minis.
Yeah, me too. And I even bought extras.
Did you get that game? Remind me of the name.
Aliens and Other Glorious Day in the Core.
Yeah, that one.
And Get Away from Her, You Bitch.
Yeah.
All of the extra heroes, and then there's the In the Pipe 5x5.
Yeah.
So there's all these add-ons. Do I need all this stuff like the Rapture Protocol? I need that, right?
Well, the VTT stuff?
Yeah.
The
that's just software, isn't it?
Yeah, that's if you have, and I have the VTT already. So one person can GM and the other people can play. But
what about like the Rapture Protocol?
You don't need it. If whoever is the GM buys it or gets it, and then you're good. Or you can use it on. They have them on Roll20. And what I'm waiting for is I'm waiting for April to see if there's here's more storms. Yeah, my dog started barking. There's more thunder. There's in April they have Alien Day, and that's when they usually put those on sale too. So like on Roll20, you can get like the Alien, the stuff you need for Aliens, and get that to be able to play there.
Okay, but what about the Colonial Marines Operations Manual PDF or the Rapture Protocol PDF? That's a cinematic adventure.
You could get the Marines one, but there is an existing Marines book out right now, and there's going to be some changes to it. And I think from what they said, there's going to be minor. I got to read more about it tonight to see what else I need to add. But
okay.
I already
can add
everything.
this. I can add this later. So I can just add this.
You can just manage your pledge later and add more.
I gotta get that. I gotta get the GMs
because I've never learned how to use their VTT, their virtual tabletop. I just never, because I went to go into it one time, and a couple times, and I loaded up all the modules that I bought, and I was like, okay, how does this thing start? It's not super intuitive, so I gotta look and I did the
same thing with Twilight 2000. I got all the software and shit. I looked and I went,
yeah, this isn't very intuitive.
No, thank you. Thanks.
I gotta look.
Thanks, but I'm good.
Yeah. So
yeah.
The other minis that we got were for Aliens and Other Glorious Day in the Core. That's from Gale Force 9.
Oh, there's so much stuff. Oh, I'm gonna spend a lot of money.
There's a mega ton of crap. I mean, you can get extra dice and all that other stuff. I'm like, I already have dice. Like the GM screen's going to be different, but I probably won't be playing it face to face with anybody. I'll probably just play it solo and online.
So the GM screen has that's a good summary.
Yeah.
About Express, the wifey won't know as much.
Is Aliens a war game? Yes.
Yes.
It is a tactical skirmish war game.
It's a war game. Why are you buying that, Kevin? Oh, because you have too many RPGs already.
Well, I mean, it's also an RPG. But I mean, it literally covers everything that I always say when people say, is this a war game? Is that a war game? It's like, no, that's not a war game. This is. Now, how is that not a war game? It's not kinetic combat. Sorry. It's just, this is kinetic combat. It's very abstracted. Yeah. Okay, you roll, I roll, high roll wins. Okay, you want, that's not kinetic combat. That's a place off. But
that's one of the things I love about these RPGs is they're super kinetic, and you get but make great stories. And I love like playing for an hour, and I can write a little story on my Substack, which I've done, like all character introductions for Twilight 2000, and Backlog Games has that war stories.
I wanted to try that out. How is that? Is that good?
It's pretty. I mean, it's what is that year zero engine or whatever? It's just that year zero engine. So it's the same. It's all D8, D10, whatever stuff, and pushing your luck and all that sort of business. And I had the guys paratrooping into Sicily in 43. It's freaking awesome.
Nice.
They're having a ball. Yeah,
nice.
So good times.
Nice.
Good times.
That's cool. Yeah. That'd be cool. So, do you want to add anything into the aliens conversation, Gimpy?
No, I'll check it out afterwards.
Yeah, sorry, I got carried away. I love aliens. I got to go watch all the movies again.
Me too.
And then,
Have you seen Romulus yet?
No, I have not. No, I haven't.
Romulus surprised the shit out of me. I was thinking
Really?
Romulus was going to be garbage because it was all young, younger people. I
Yeah,
was like,
yeah.
oh man,
It
it's
looked
going to
like
be
a
one of those.
typical cast that you would
It was
see.
going to be like a teen angst movie. No, it was an aliens movie. It was really good, and there's some lines in there that make you laugh that they reuse from other movies, which I'm not going to ruin, but it was fun. It was fun, and
it
there's
was
some
worth
callbacks.
watching. It wasn't
Yes.
Aliens like the sequel, the second one by any means. That was the best of the best.
Well, Aliens as a sequel, Aliens was a good action flick, but Alien
Yeah.
was still the best because of the horror behind it. But
Yeah,
Aliens was a
yeah,
great action movie.
No,
Yeah.
the one with the Colonial Marines is always my favorite.
Yeah,
I think they perfected it.
I feel
Yeah.
like
That
I'm
one.
hammering them.
They introduced how scary one could be, and then they came up with the whole Queen and the Hive and everything, and had her go back and face her fears and everything in the second. That was perfection. They should have just killed everybody off or done something. The rest of it, they started just nosediving that shit.
Yeah.
Not even going to get into resurrection. Like, what the hell were you thinking?
Well, you know
Yeah.
what? On that note, I'm going to have to end this because we are starting to get hit again with more hail.
Sure.
So
Sure.
I'm going to have to
Peace
get
out.
offline. So I will see you guys next month, and I appreciate everybody for tuning in this month, and we will see you next month. Have a great night.